AITA, for telling my parents their actions did more harm to mine and my siblings' childhoods than our half-brother did? I, 20F, was 7. My parents sat me down and informed me that Dad had a son with some lady and they had just found out about it. They told me he was coming to live with us and it would be great because I would have a big brother and he'd be the best of friends with me and my younger twin siblings who were 2 at the time. It took maybe 6 weeks from that conversation for him to come to the house. I never met him outside the day he moved in. In the 6 weeks between the initial conversation and him moving in, my parents hyped the whole thing up. They got me so excited. I was preparing what to say to him, and I even set aside an outfit for the day so I would look extra nice when we saw each other for the first time. All the while, my parents convinced me that he was so excited to get to know me. The reality was so very different. He was 13, had just lost his mom and did not want to live with us. He wanted to stay with his family several states away. They were the people he was living with initially after his mom died. First time I met him, he cursed at all of us and stormed off. My half-brother lived with us for 3 years. Those 3 years were awful years. My parents were in my ear telling me never to give up on my brother and saying he needed us, and praising any suggestions I had to basically force myself on him, which I didn't see it as that at the time. I saw it as what I should do and what my parents wanted me to do. When I did those things, he told me to fuck off. He shut doors in my face. He told me to go die, and whenever I used the word brother around him, he would yell so loud I was terrified. My younger siblings don't actually remember him despite being 5. They don't have the same issues because of those years, but my parents have given them a complex always bringing up our half-brother and saying he ruined our childhoods and was so cruel to never give us a chance as his siblings or all of us as his family. CPS intervened in sending him back to his relatives after I had confided in my teacher about stuff happening at home. The whole thing left me with shitty self-esteem and no confidence. Logic took over eventually, and I realized this stuff wasn't on me. But I still feel like I'm not good enough, and I let people treat me like shit for way too long. My parents blame my half-brother for it all, and they have never stopped bringing up how he destroyed our childhoods. I had put some distance between us lately, and they didn't like that. So they called, so check in on me and make sure I'm still going to therapy. When they brought up my half-brother during this call, I told them their actions did more harm than his did, because I wouldn't have cared as much about his arrival had they just told me he was coming and hadn't encouraged me to ignore what he wanted. I told them that was far more harmful because they took advantage of the trust I had in them. They became angry and told me they hadn't treated me like shit or said all those awful things to me. AITA!